Hey everybody, I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ryan.
This is the Magical Express,
where we bring the Disney magic to you.
Hey everyone, we here at the Magical Express have some bad news. Last night, at about midnight, someone broke into my house and stole almost $500 from me and my wife. That man's name is Bob Iger. Ryan, at midnight, Disney broke some news that broke my heart and also my bank account. Annual ticket prices are going through the roof.
They are straight skyrocketing right now.
I mean, I guess after the financial success of Marvel's big movie, they're like, you know what? Let's make a little more. And that unfortunately came at the cost of the consumers and the pocketbooks. So Ryan, what happened last night when you sent me that horrible tweet at midnight? Just a rude awakening. What all went down?
So last night I was doing my nightly tradition of scrolling through Twitter before bed when I noticed that someone had posted all of the new prices for the new annual passes, and my jaw hit the floor. Yeah. It was unbelievable. They had just skyrocketed, and it wasn't until today when people had started doing kind of a cost breakdown of how much greater they were that it really hit home. But man, what a way to go to bed last night thinking, oh, things are great. Galaxy's Edge is doing great in California. It's coming in
people are getting excited.
Right, it's coming in the fall. Universal hasn't had the greatest week, so that's a plus for us Disney fans. Not that we wish anything ill against them, but things were just really looking up for Disney. And then all of a sudden they drop a bomb in the middle of the night.
Yeah, and it's so odd because if you keep up with the price changes, like it happens. I get it. Inflation happens. If you're a Disney Vacation Club member and you've looked at point prices, inflation is real. And what's so weird though is that the annual prices changed last year in October.
Yeah, it's fairly recent.
For people like myself, my wife and I were going to buy annual passes a little closer to October. The whole family, we have a trip planned for October. We have a planned trip for December. And so basically we're like, okay, let's just go ahead and do this. Let's get the annual passes.
Sure.
And then Mickey tricked us. The prices are insane. I think the average price increase was around 20% per. And that's nuts. That's not normal. And so it really, it's affected us.
Absolutely.
As we've looked for our next trips and how we're going to go about funding that. And we're guessing it's going to affect you all too. If you're like us, looking forward to going to Orlando, going to Walt Disney World. It was a shock.
But props to Disney. Usually, there's this ongoing joke in media that anytime a company wants to release bad news, they'll do it in the middle of the night or like 5:30 p.m. on a Friday so that people forget about it as they're going through their weekend. And that's really kind of exactly what happened last night. It was announced with really not much pomp or circumstance. It was kind of just leaked out.
You just refresh the page and you're like, oh, that went up by $200.
And so they kind of, as I mentioned before, dropped the bomb in the middle of the night and waited for today for people to start talking about it. It's definitely, as you mentioned, going to impact a lot of people, and especially a lot of people who didn't see this coming, planning for these future trips.
Well, Ryan, the only potential, not even a positive really, the way it's trying to be spun in a positive light is the fact that all these annual pass holders starting with Galaxy's Edge do have early access now. I guess they'll probably do a time block like Disneyland. I think it was some date in late August when they're like, okay, annual pass holders, you now have early access. But is that justification for the prices going up like they are?
I don't think it's justification. More than anything, I think this is a way for them to possibly curb those annual pass crowds. I think it's becoming more clear anyway that they're not going to do a reservation system identical to that of Disneyland. But I do think upping these prices, and as you mentioned, as high as 20% in a lot of instances, is a way for them to strategically start thinning some of those possible crowds. That being said, I think it's also viable that Disney fans pay for what they want, and if they want something bad enough, they're going to pay the extra 20% off, or the 20% increase, I should say.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if this actually works, and if this was their intention, But I definitely think it's something to watch moving forward to see what kind of impact this has on those August opening day crowds.
Well, obviously, this is going to have a pretty big impact on us. We're having to price check park hoppers now, which we really weren't planning on, and trying to see what works best for our future vacations. And so we want to know, what about you guys? Is this going to impact your trips? Do you think the early access at Galaxy's Edge is justifiable for the price increase? Let us know in the comments. And honestly, this was big. Like, this is something that really is going to have a big impact, I guess, for the next calendar year until they surprise us with another announcement in the middle of the night.
Maybe calendar year, as you mentioned before. The last update to these prices was just October, so who knows what it'll be by January. Hopefully it doesn't change again, but right now, things really seem to be kind of up in the air.
Well, everybody, this may not be the most fun news in the world, but we're so happy to bring it to you. And so again, I'm Ethan.
I'm Ryan.
This is the Magical Express.